Good morning everyone, it's Bren here and welcome to my cottage garden in New South Wales, Australia. We have now just entered our second month of winter. Also, it's school holidays and unfortunately we've had to go into another lockdown, so plenty of time being spent at home, and I'm hoping this week I'll get to spend a bit of time out in the garden, because you may notice my voice is a little bit funny today. I've been pretty unwell this past week, but thankfully I'm starting to get a bit better. I'm looking forward to showing you around, so please just sit back and relax for a few minutes and let's get into it now. We've had fog here every morning this week. This weather really reminds me of Ireland. Very similar winter's morning. It's probably not as cold, but you do get the fog and the rain soaked ground. I haven't given you an update yet on how this broken branch is doing. So you may remember a few weeks ago the branch snapped from the weight of all the lemons on it. I was debating whether to remove some of these delicious lemons or the whole branch entirely. Some of you suggested, wrapping this up, sealing it so it doesn't spread any disease. You know what, I ended up just leaving it with the ladder supporting the weight, and so far so good. And I have made a decision that once I harvest all of this fruit, which will be ready fairly soon, I'm going to just chop off this entire branch. In this container I sprinkle some poppy seedlings. Looks like I'm getting good germination here. These are the purple poppies which I grew before. I'll put a picture up here to show you. I usually put them in ground, just sprinkle on the ground, but this time I've put them in a container. I'll really have to severely thin these out. I only really want maybe 4 to 5 plants in here. I think that would be sufficient to get a nice display. I have so much work to do in the garden, so although I love all of these nasturtiums, they have kind of gone a bit wild. They're trailing everywhere, and this is meant to be a pathway under the archway and bring me down to the back of the garden. I'm going to have to come and chop all of that back. And the good thing about nasturtiums is you can actually do that. They don't mind a heavy prune. It won't affect the plants, and honestly I've had these here for so long that I'm just constantly getting seedlings pop up, so even if I do kill a plant or two, I'm sure another one will try and take its place. I've come around to the other side of the lemon tree because for some reason on this side, maybe because they get more sun, but the lemons are ready to pick here. Most of them are. They're a lot more ripe. I'm going to grab one of these and just use it and make a simple little hot beverage to help my throat. There's so many of them, I just can't get over it. And I know many of you are thinking, how do I do this? You know what? I think the number one thing is that I grow lemons in the right climate. So you go and look in my area and there's lots of people with lemon trees. It's ideal conditions here in this part of New South Wales. I'm trying to take this one off to be able to grow citrus. I do notice here that there's a bit of yellowing on this foliage. It could be some kind of nutrient deficiency. I don't see any sign of any kind of bugs or anything like that. What I might actually do is I might give it another dressing of manures, which I put cow manures, chicken manure, even just some bark as well, and that really helps to feed the tree every year and produce this amount of fruit. I'm down in the fan garden because I want to grab a bit of lemongrass, but since we're here I wanted to show you this. I noticed it yesterday. This is my cotton plant and I think it's pretty much carked it now. A lot of the foliage has died back. I may just start all over again with trying to grow cotton. I found a few seeds. Did I the other day? I think I did. And what I'll do is I'll just sow again in spring and give it another try. So here's my patch of lemongrass. You may remember that I was going to dig this up, pop it in a pot, but I never got around to it. And to be honest with you, I'm quite surprised that it survived that frost we had a couple of weeks ago. It's still looking nice and healthy. So I'm going to grab a couple of pieces from this now to put into my tea. How I harvest it is I just give it a bit of a twist. Oh, I don't much energy. I think I've broken it there and pull it out like that. I'm gonna go now and open the chickens. Good morning, girls. I think Autumn's inside the nesting box, maybe laying an egg. Hey girls, how's it going? I feel a little bit bad because I haven't been giving them much attention this last week. I mean, they've had plenty of food and water. They've been allowed out every day, except for one day. But otherwise, usually I come down and have a little chat with them. I don't know whether that's for me or for them, and I don't really know if it makes a difference to their life, but you know, I love hanging out with them when I'm out in the garden. Okay, I'll grab these, and before I make my little beverage, I do want to show you some seedlings. I have these up against the house. Remember, I potted them up a few weeks ago. Now, I did purchase all of these. They were a lot smaller, and I just divided them up and put them into containers that I had. So I've got some larkspur. These are the Johnny Jump Ups. There's a little flower on that there. Let me see. So pretty. And very hardy too. Doesn't mind a bit of cold, like most violas and pansies. They're quite tough here in our winter. We're very fortunate, so we can still have a lot of colour during winter. Some gorgeous kale, silver beet, and then broccoli and cauliflower. A lot of winter flowers are starting to come back, and most of these have self-seeded. So this here is borage, a really great plant to grow in winter if you can, because it really provides food for all of the bees or any bees that are around. And I want to show you this discovery too. Now, to most people it might look like just a pile of weeds, but what we have here is lots of love in the mist, or Nigella seedlings. And how I know they are them is because I've grown them quite some time now, so I'm familiar with what they look like. But also, this is the area where when I harvested the seed pods, I placed them here for a while to just to dry out. And obviously I think, well, what's after happening here is lots of the seeds fell and they've germinated in amongst the weeds, the grass. I might try and dig some of these up and put them into individual little cells, grow them on, and then plant them out in a few weeks' time. It's starting to get a bit exciting here in my container garden, because if we look in here, these are the Japanese turnips. Now this isn't quite ready, but I'll pull it out just for the sake of showing you. They are starting to reach a decent enough size. Well, probably maybe say a golf ball size, and then they're ready to pick. But I can actually just give this a wash and eat this raw. They're quite delicious. You can actually slice these up and have them raw in salads too. They're not too overpowering. Over here, this is where I have some radishes. I have neglected them slightly. They were starting to get a bit yellow in the leaves. Not too concerned about that really, it's fine. And in here, if we have a look, let's pick this one. They're starting to grow too. I would say another couple of weeks now and I'll be able to harvest all of these delicious radishes. And same over here. These are the golden, I'll put the name up on the screen, the golden radishes. Aren't they kind of pretty? They look like little onion bulbs. And how I knew I was starting to feel a little tiny bit better yesterday was I made a start in tinning out these carrots. I didn't get very far. I kind of ran out of energy. But once I'm starting to feel a bit better now in the next couple of days, I will thin these out a lot more. And then over here, these are the other turnips. First time growing these. As I said, I had the seed packet open, but I don't ever remember harvesting them. I might just pull one out and have a look anyway. I've got no idea if they're ready or not. I don't think they are, but maybe they are. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'll have to go inside now and do a bit of research. But that's looking pretty good. I reckon maybe a little bit bigger and then they will all be ready to pick. I've just been inside and I grabbed myself a hot mug of water. I'm going to make this very simple drink. I also, from the kitchen, got some of this honey, which my neighbour gave me. It's actually from a local beekeeper, let me see, in the Oaks, which isn't too far away. There we go. which is fantastic to be able to support local businesses. So I'm going to put a spoon of the honey in, going to chop off a section of the lemon and some of this lemongrass. I know there's probably much fancier ways of making this, but I just keep everything pretty simple. I'll leave the honey in there for a few minutes and it will dissolve, and I'll stir it through the water. Lemon. There we go. I did try and cut it before, but the table was wobbling so much. Just squeeze this in. Try and get it into the mug. There we go. And with the lemongrass, I'm just going to cut off the bottom piece like this. I know you can also dry the foliage part, which a few of you have shared with me, and I will do in the future, but just for today, to keep it easy, chop this off. And then I've seen the professionals, they kind of smash it up. It's meant to release the flavour. Let me see, try again. I'm not really doing much smashing, but let me just pop it in there, leave it there for a few minutes, and then I'm going to enjoy this drink, go back inside and try and relax for the rest of the day. I think I'll be having a few of these today. Well, it's that time again where I'm going to say goodbye for another week. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next Friday.